Secrets. I'm Spike. That's fat ass. He just broke one of our chairs. Yes, I have to tell everything. There are no secrets on Facebook or YouTube. By the way, this, for those of you watching us on YouTube, we just, careful now. You already broke one. I know. I feel bad. It's like WrestleMania here. He's just busting chairs all over the place. Anyway.
Got me all tore up.
If you haven't been watching us on Facebook, we did post an episode with his review of Sonic the Hedgehog over on it, in which we found out he likes it, but not as much as a fifth of Jack Daniels. Right?
Now, if I had a fifth of Jack Daniels while watching the movie, it'd be the best movie in the world.
Yeah, why don't they sell fifths of whiskey instead of popcorn at the movies? Can you imagine what 10th frame would, how much business 10th frame would do? Especially if they didn't bother checking IDs.
Well, I have to say the cleaning up part would probably be a bad idea.
Well, who cares about that? There's money to be made there, son. Anyway. So anyway, for those of you who've been watching us on Facebook, you've probably already seen his review of Sonic. Those of you watching on YouTube, why are you still here? But hey, we're going to go ahead, we're going to post this video here.
It's too bad.
We're going to post this video here. We've got another video. We'll also be posting this to Facebook. So either way, you'll be seeing our little thing scrolling down here across the bottom, but not the timestamp. If you look over here, there should not be a timestamp unless I just completely screwed up one of these settings, which means it's probably recording this in reverse. We've already had trouble with my Kaboom, so my arch enemy. But anyway. In this edition, I'm going to take a quick look at the future of media, because this is something I think needs to be addressed. Okay, we've got Comcast buying Vudu, which is the online movie site that Walmart owns. You buy a movie at Walmart, you can stream it online for free at no extra cost from Vudu, as long as you own the DVD and it belongs to your account. With, of course, Comcast trying to buy it. Comcast also owns NBC Universal. They've got a new service called Peacock coming out here shortly, which basically will be running like a free version with ads, a cheap version with fewer ads, and an expensive version with no ads.
Nope.
You've got CBS Viacom owns Pluto TV, which is free, CBS All Access, which is cheap, but and then they're threatening to come out with another version that's going to apparently probably be like Showtime Max or something, with more content than what you can get on CBS All Access or Pluto. And then you've got Disney with Disney Plus with their all-you-can-eat thing on what they let you eat over on Disney Plus. And, no, I'm missing something. You still got Netflix hanging around like the Phantom of the Opera on the edges of Hollywood. You got all these studios. What's been happening over the past year, the studios have been pulling all their content from other streaming services like Netflix and Hulu and all this other stuff. They're pulling it so that they can have their own studio streaming service. Again, that's Hulu for NBC Universal, that's HBO Max for Warner, that's Disney Plus, all the others. They're trying to take Netflix's lunch, okay, which is why Netflix is saying they're going to drop $20 billion on original content this year.
Swiping, no swiping.
I wouldn't own a single share of Netflix stock for anything, but hey, at least they'll have IP to roll out of it. Of course, the fact that 95% of the intellectual property that Netflix has been producing isn't worth a dog dropping. Hey, speaking of dog droppings, this episode is brought to you by a sponsor we actually mentioned last week, but again, Boom Mike, my arch enemy. Your dog does not like breakfast cereal. Okay, let's just go ahead and let's get it out of the way. Your dog does not like breakfast cereal. I don't care. I mean, you'll eat Cheerios. I'll eat Cheerios. Your dog doesn't want Cheerios. It doesn't matter whether you put beef flavoring on it or liver flavoring on the Cheerios. Your dog doesn't... Wolves do not go around eating Captain Crunch, okay? They don't. So why are you feeding your dog breakfast cereal?
Just give it a minute. He's getting somewhere with this.
Your dog wants table scraps, okay? Just think of it this way. According to a phony baloney, I'm sure, multi-million-dollar study, a third of all food bought in America gets thrown away. Why are you throwing it away? Your dog wants table scraps. That third of all the food you just bought last week that you're getting ready to throw out because your wife insisted that you're going to eat cauliflower this week and you're not eating cauliflower this week, your dog wants it. Your dog will eat cauliflower. Your dog will eat beef gristle, half-chewed beef gristle that you spat out of your mouth because you thought you were getting a good deal on hamburger. Your dog will eat that. Your dog doesn't care. It's a dog. Okay? You wanted to give liver and onions a try, and oh boy, was that a mistake. Your dog will eat that stuff. Your dog loves liver and onions. Although you should only feed your dog cooked onions because apparently raw onions are bad for dogs. So is chocolate. So don't be giving your dog chocolate cake. But the rest of the table scraps, give your dog table scraps. Table scraps. Your dog loves them. Your dog wants them. Your dog's begging you at the table for them. Why the hell are you ignoring him? Don't drop $40 on beefios. Give your dog your table scraps. Your dog will love you. Your dog is actually the most efficient garbage disposal known to all of mankind. So by all means, your dog wants table scraps. So, with that word of sponsorship out of the way, let's get back. Where were we?
I'm pretty sure you lost everybody else out there.
We were at doggy do is what I was talking about. And even though because most Netflix intellectual properties, 95% of them are not worth doggy do. Remember? So maybe yank that cap off your head.
No, I remember.
I won't get it through your thick little skull yet. Anyway. What the studios don't realize, okay, and the studios don't know this, all they know is that Netflix has a lot of subscribers. They're making a lot of money. Of course, they're pissing it all right back out the window again on content, but hey, Netflix is the one to beat. So every studio in Hollywood wants a taste of that sweet, sweet streaming meat. And they think that there are billions of dollars on the line here. There's a problem, okay? And huge corporations make this mistake all the damn time. You know this because in the real world, you work for one of the world's biggest corporations. I'm not going to mention names. We're not going into details. You work for a large corporation. You, of all people, know that this corporation from time to time just has an absolute brain fart and forgets that they cannot run this massive multinational corporation with a CEO and 2 janitors. Okay? Right?
I would say the janitors would probably have a better, successful way to run the business.
The janitor would know. The janitor knows this. The CEO doesn't. Because he's been trained not to think that way.
Well, it's kind of like just as an example from where I work at. Let's say you got a big block of cheese about this long.
Okay, time out.
Fresh cheese.
Time out.
What?
Stop right there before you give away too much more personally identifiable information. Just know that corporations can make huge mistakes. They think they're doing something brilliant and ahead of the curve, and they're just screwing up. Now, I've had to...
Just shut me out.
Guarantee you, I'm gonna when I go through and edit this video and get it into post-production and get ready to post it, guarantee you I'm gonna have to pull the damn circus music again because I've had to do that before to save you from yourself. But anyway, that's what brothers are for. What these CEOs don't realize, just because. Listen, these streaming services almost universally rely on 2 companies to do their work for them, okay? Yeah, 2, okay? Google and Amazon, okay? Amazon is worth billions of dollars. You know why Amazon is worth billions of dollars?
Because they do shipping, handling, plus they have a streaming service.
You are 1/3 of the way there. the Amazon shops, the stuff you buy on Amazon, the groceries, Whole Foods, all that stuff Amazon owns doesn't make them a dime. They lose money on their retail side. They always have. I did a study on Amazon back in 2007, said it was for a business class, and I looked at it the way stock analysts look at stocks. This was the worst idea ever, okay? Jeff Bezos was basically just taking other people's money and throwing it in a furnace, hand over fist. What Jeff Bezos did was he was the luckiest bastard alive. Okay, what he figured out. Jeff Bezos did not want Amazon to be down at any time. He wanted it to always be available. So even if a server went down with his website on it, his Amazon website, he wanted redundant servers around the country that could pick up the slack, which is basically how the internet works, okay? If one server goes down, other servers pick up the slack. So that's what he did. He would go out and he would buy these cheap little servers and just put them here, there, wherever he could find, like a cell phone company with some extra space in one of their little processing units, or a cell phone company, or a cable company, or wherever computers were stored. He would have one set up with a heavy-duty Ethernet line attached to it, so Amazon would always be available. Okay? The reason Jeff Bezos is the luckiest SOB on the planet is because he overemphasized that. He gave it too much capacity. So all this redundant capacity, all this redundant storage. I mean, at the time he may have needed like 6 gigabytes to store all the stuff that Amazon sells, okay, to store the Amazon's website. But you could only get servers that had like 500 gigabytes to it. So he's got 494 gigabytes too much. He's got all this leftover bandwidth. So what does he do with it? Well, somebody comes along, Netflix, and says, hey, I see you got all this extra bandwidth laying around and stuff. You mind if I buy some of that from you? And he's like, wait, you're going to give me money for something I'm already doing anyway? Yeah, this way you can distribute our movies because we're going to try streaming and see if it takes off. That way, to get people away from the DVD by mail and stuff. No. And Amazon's like, well, okay, I guess. But if you're going to pay us up front, we'll go ahead and do it, okay? So Amazon started hosting all of the Netflix content and distributing it. That was the birth. That was not the birth, but it was the first big growth for Amazon Web Services, or AWS. That's what Amazon is worth billions for. Not because their frickin' store. Their store sucks. Their store ain't worth squat. Like I said, it loses the money. But they are making so much jack off of AWS in the United States, North America, South America, all over the planet. If you need reliable web service provided, so if you need your website available constantly, you go to AWS. Microsoft has one, but it's not quite as popular. Amazon did it first, Amazon did it best, Amazon did it strongest. That's why Amazon is in video. That's why they started putting video on Prime. They were hosting all this content already. All they had to do was just point their own little servers to it, sign a few Hollywood contracts, boom. They had access to a lot of the Netflix stuff. And then they started adding their own. So, and the best part is, because they're doing that, people keep using Amazon, and it just strengthens. Okay, Netflix, they've got a rock hard backbone. It don't matter. I swear to God, I could take this little remote for this camera right here. Guarantee you I could find some way to put a Netflix app on this digital camera that we're using. Netflix is that good. Amazon is that good. NBC Universal Peacock.
Ooh, what?
This is where the studios screw up. They don't have the backing, and they forgot this costs money. This is not just a license to print money. You have to pay for expenses. You want Amazon to distribute you like they do with Netflix? Well, Netflix has a nice solid contract already. Sure, you can do it, but you're going to have to pay more than Netflix does. You're going to have to pay Netflix money. All right, we'll host our own. We'll pay for our own bandwidth. And then you have to maintain your own servers, which means you have to pay people to actually maintain those servers. You have to make sure the electricity's turned on. You have to make sure the air conditioning works, which means you need more technicians, which means pretty soon you've got your very own support staff that you have to pay every month, whether you sell subscriptions or not. Every studio is going to have to do this. They're going to have to make this decision. Either way, it's going to cost them a fortune to host, to launch their service. So you can watch Friends for the 825th time because you want to watch The Office again. This is why you're spending billions building these things. Does this make any monetary sense? Think about this, okay? NBC is owned by Comcast, right? CBS owned by Viacom. ABC is owned by Disney. Fox Television is actually still owned by 20th Century. No, that's owned by Disney now. Okay, that's right. Fox News and all the other stuff, that still belongs to News Corp. But all the broadcast networks belong to one of these huge corporations. How many of these broadcast networks, the four I just named, how many of them show great profits?
Well, Disney.
No, not Disney. Does ABC show a profit? Not really.
They don't have enough.
They show more of a profit now that they've managed to buy off the FCC enough to force cable companies to pay them a fee each month for each subscriber.
I have an idea.
Yeah?
We should start our own streaming service.
Okay, let's start our own streaming service, okay? Okay, we're going to start the Who, What, Where streaming service. We're going to go out, we're going to find amateurs who are looking for a chance to create their own content, okay? We're going to be like Peacock, we're going to be like HBO Max, we're going to be like all these other guys. We're going to have our very own streaming service, right? So, we're going to get these amateurs, and they're going to work for free, right?
Some, yeah.
Are you going to charge for this service?
No, it's coming out of your pocket.
See, now he's thinking like Disney Plus. Now he's thinking like HBO Max. This is what the streamers are doing. You got to pay the creators, buddy. You got to pay residuals. And remember, a lot of these things that are being produced, remember I said Netflix is paying $20 billion in content. And 95% of it is crap that nobody will want to watch in a week. Okay? They might watch it once and never watch it again. All that money's got to come from somewhere. Now,
sure.
If this intellectual property has no underlying value, you're bankrupting yourself. Okay? Netflix is going to learn this eventually. These other companies, NBC, Comcast, ABC, Disney, CBS, Viacom, Fox, Disney, all these companies, the production companies that make the shows that these guys put on as their streaming exclusives, a lot of them are operating under the same principle as the broadcast networks. The streaming services do not own these shows. They own the right to show it for a certain length of time, just like the broadcast networks do. But when that contract is up, the production company retains the ownership. That's how, and when that happens, they're going to take it back, just like Warner Brothers is doing with Friends, just like Universal is doing with The Office. They're taking those away from Netflix, Hulu, whoever may be hosting them. They're taking them away and maybe starting their own service. Okay? So, we're going to start our own. Okay, we got to find a way to pay the creators. We got to find a way to pay for the production costs. Hey, don't forget, we still got to buy servers. We got to buy bandwidth. We've got to find a support crew. We got to find people to keep running the technical stuff. All that stuff costs money.
Well.
Well.
Okay. All right. Alright, true. Unless...
Unless...
yeah, I got nothing.
Unless you go the PBS route. Okay? PBS is public broadcasting here in the United States. There's everybody out of the country watching this. PBS is public broadcasting. Imagine, like, it's subsidized by the people who watch it. Okay, with a little bit of government money, but not a whole lot. Not like the BBC where they get all their money from broadcast licenses and stuff. PBS method, when you apply that to streaming, you get things like Kickstarter. Remember Mystery Science Theater 3000
Yes.
came back? PBS model. Okay? Guess what? Where did Mystery Science Theater, they did their 10th season. Where did it go?
Netflix.
And where did the season after that go?
Netflix.
Who paid for the production of those episodes?
Netflix.
No.
Oh, viewers.
Kickstarters.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The people who wanted their names in the credits at the end. Okay? Kickstarters. People
we
kicked in
should be
$10
a
or $20.
Kickstarter.
Hold on. Now, when that, understand, Netflix does not own Mystery Science Theater 3000. A production company called Best Brains owns them. They're owned by Shout Factory. Okay, Shout Factory, that's a Shout Factory property. Shout Factory owns the rights to the movies that they show on Mystery Science Theater.
Right.
That's why you can still watch those, because they own the rights to those movies. If they don't own the rights to the movies they're showing in these episodes, they can't show the episodes.
Right.
And guess what? Guess who owns those movies they haven't sold to Shout Factory? You can imagine how much money they want from Shout Factory to give them the rights so that they could show it on Mystery Science Theater 3000 again. Exactly. Everybody's in it for as much cash as possible. So, yes, you can go the Kickstarter route. But those Kickstarter investors, they got their stuff out of it. They got their little mention on the credits. They might have gotten a hat or whatever the little premiums were for. Plus, they got to watch the new episodes, which is what they wanted.
True.
But who retains ownership of the property? The intellectual property? Shout Factory. Because they own Best Brains. So when that contract with Netflix runs out, it's not going to be on Netflix anymore. That's why Netflix is not subscribing to another season. They don't own it. That's why there's not a third season of the revival, even though Jonah Ray wanted there to be, as far as I understood. So, it's all about the cash, and eventually, this is the point I'm trying to make, eventually the cash runs out. When the cash runs out, guess what? A lot of these streaming services are going to start dropping because they're going to learn in their MBA heads, major big asshole, that's what MBA stands for, okay? In their little MBA heads, they honestly think that they can make more money distributing their own stuff. No, 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 no. You incur expenses with that, okay? The idea is you want to put your stuff out there and get money for it while paying next to nothing in expense. Okay, you may have to kick out your residuals and stuff. There might be a little bit of a duplication cost involved, but with digital and stuff, that's not such a thing. So you want to go out, let's say I'm Universal, I own the United States version of The Office, okay? I want to make as much money off The Office as I can. Now this is just one of hundreds of properties I own. Now I can bring that back into my place, and I can put it on my own streaming service, and I can call it Peacock, and I can do whatever I want to with it. How much money? Am I going to make $250 million in a year off The Office? Streaming it myself. Will I get that much ad revenue? Not likely. How much was Netflix willing to pay for Friends for another year? Or The Office, for that matter. They were willing to pay roughly $250 million for a year because that many people were watching this show. But no, major big asshole says, no, I can make more, I want to keep all that money to myself. But he doesn't realize he just incurred all that expense. So instead of Netflix, which Amazon doesn't want to lose the Netflix money, so they've got a nice little deal going between the two of them. So Netflix gets it cheaper than what Universal ever would, NBC Universal and Peacock ever would. But eventually these MBAs are going to realize, you know what? The only way I'm going to increase the amount of money I make from The Office, I'm going to have to give it to somebody else. It's going to wind up right back on Netflix, or it's going to go to Hulu, or it's going to go to one of these other streaming services. That's the future, okay? Within the next 5 years, I'm going to go ahead and make the prediction now. You will not see Peacock. Or if you do, it's not going to be anywhere near what it is now, okay? Hulu struggled for a decade before they managed to throw enough of the broadcast networks off their backs. They were the ones who founded Hulu, with the broadcast networks. It took Hulu a decade to get them off their backs enough they could actually start showing some growth and success. Within about 5 years, a lot of these studio streamers are going to go away. And what you're going to have in its place is you're going to have Netflix, you're going to have Hulu. If Comcast is smart, Vudu, and there'll be one more left. There'll be a fourth one because there's always 4. The rule of 3s applies. You'll always have 3 great big ones. But that for some reason in the United States, since Fox managed to make a go of it, there's now a rule of 4. And that 4th one, I guarantee you I know what it'll be called. You know what? You want to take a guess what this 4th one will be called? You're going to have Netflix, you're going to have Hulu, maybe Vudu if they're smart. They're probably not going to be smart. Most likely Disney Plus will take that 3rd spot. You know who the 4th one will be?
No.
Blockbuster. No. Mark my words. Dish Network owns Blockbuster.
We'll see about that. We'll see.
Guaranteed. Because say what you will about Dish Network, they keep finding ways to make it work. Because they started popularizing the idea. DirecTV beat them to market with satellite television, but they made it cheaper.
Yeah.
And they were able to make a go of it. That started falling apart, so then they started Sling TV. They weren't the first one to start offering like a cable alternative online, but they did it cheaper. And it's worked for them.
I really wish they would stop doing all those.
Guarantee you Blockbuster is going to be the 4th. So you're going to wind up with four major streaming services. Maybe you'll have Acorn and BritBox still hanging around to handle the specialty content. You'll see little specialty ones all over the place still. But there will be 4 biggies. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be Netflix because they're going to refuse. They're going to be too big to fail. Amazon won't let them fail. It'll be Hulu. And to be honest, you could probably lump Disney Plus in with Hulu because they're both Disney. Maybe Amazon will be 3rd and Blockbuster, Dish Network will be 4th.
I wonder what's going to be next. QVC?
Quibi. Quibi is the new thing. It's supposed to be 10-minute episodes is the thing with Quibi. Quibi. You're supposed to tell a story 10 minutes at a time because people have such short attention spans. Never mind the fact that we've been telling huge, overarching stories that last for seasons at a time since what? Lost popularized it? Actually, it was Twin Peaks popularized it before that, and it was The Fugitive back in the 60s who really came up with the idea. And honestly, it's just nothing more than primetime soap operas, which we've been doing it since the 20s on radio, actually. But anyway. But I did have an original point here. I was talking about overarching story arcs.
Yeah, you kind of lost
that.
But
see, anyway.
I like listening to you talk because it's almost like you had all this stuff build up for months, and then you're just like,
I'm bulimic that way. I'm a mental bulimic. Anyway. So anyway, over the next 5 years, don't get too attached to some of these newer streaming services.
Stick with the big ones.
Netflix ain't going to go nowhere. I honestly don't think it will. Now, understand, I can swing and miss. I've been known to do it plenty of times before, but I don't see Netflix going anywhere.
Oh, no.
Hulu is just too valuable a property. The penetration's too deep to let it go. Amazon, like I said, Amazon, hey, Amazon's Amazon. They already own all the infrastructure. They're not going anywhere. As long as AWS is paying the bills, they're not going anywhere. And odds are it's going to be Blockbuster on that fourth one with Dish Network still making a play. Odds are Dish Network's going to wind up buying DirecTV from AT&T because there's no money to be made there.
I would be happy to have regular cable owned by Blockbuster.
I would be happy to have I would be happy to have regular cable owned by a local consortium, not one of these multi-mega national corps. Yeah, like Comcast or Spectrum or one of these other a-hole companies. But and by the way, cable, I'm not sure where cable's going to go from here. I don't think a lot of these cable alternatives are going to go away. It's all going to wind up being down to like one or two services. And you know who's going to well, I'm going to say it's probably going to come down to like 3 or 4 services. Guess who's going to provide those online cable alternative services? Netflix, Hulu via Disney, and Amazon, and most likely Dish Network. And odds are Dish Network is going to lead the way with Blockbuster. We'll see where I am in 5 years. I mean, it's 2020 now. I've got another Trump term to go. You're welcome, Bernie fans. Bernie bros. Come at me, Bernie bros. Anyway.
Here they go. Politics on you all.
Oh, speaking of politics, we've got one more thing to do before... Well, we're going to wrap this up for right now. We are going to be actually putting out another edition of the Chore of Duty. Actually, it should be out by the time you see this because it's coming out on this Sunday. It's going to be another edition of the Chore of Duty podcast coming out on Anchor FM, coming out on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and wherever you get your podcast. If you're still podcasting, you can find the Chore of Duty out there. This time around, Nevada just had their caucus on Saturday, February 22nd, which is yesterday as we record this. I don't know when I'm going to get it posted. I'm going to sit down and give you a quick breakdown of what happened at the Nevada debate, what happened at the Nevada caucuses, and what happens next for the Democrats. And let's just say the next couple of weeks are going to tell the tale. I'll save it for the podcast. Till next time, I'm Spike.
I'm Chris.
That's Chris. He's been mostly silent, but his butt's still hurting him from where he broke a chair, so he'll be all right. Oh, you better hope you didn't break the she who must not be named's more comfortable chair. That chair is more comfortable than the other one, isn't it? Isn't it?
I don't know. Is it?
I don't know. You're the one who's been resting your butt in it for the past 20 minutes or so.
But now I'm already feel bad about the chair, and then you making me. She has a favorite chair, like.
I love driving him insane. It's such a short trip. We'll see you next time on Geeking Out, y'all. See if I can figure out what the hell I just did with the remote. The remote's here somewhere. It's the one that. Ah, that's right. It was right up my rump. There we go.
See?
Next time, y'all.